Fairview, if you kind of picture it on the map, Fairview is right between Asheville and Chimney Rock. Now, there have been multiple reports that Chimney Rock was absolutely destroyed, and portions of Chimney Rock was destroyed. But I took a little time over the weekend to try. I could not get there. I was not there, but I did the next best thing, and I found individuals who were on the scene recording live as they were witnessing what was going on the scene. And so we're trying to cut through some of the clutter and the clatter. You've got a government that's willing to lie to you to prop up the liberal Democrats in Washington, D.C., You have a lot of rumor and innuendo going on online. You see that rumor and that innuendo blossom into out-and-out lies online, sadly, and nobody seems to know what the truth is. Here's what I am here to tell you with regard to Hurricane Helene. And I don't know if it's a byproduct of the day and age that we live in, where keyboard warriors go online, or radio warriors go on talk radio, or the government warriors go on talking head shows, and they seem to pretend like they know everything. They seem to pretend as if they know exactly what's going on every single place that has been affected by these storms. And I'm here to tell you they do not. And in some places, I'm certain, and I'm going to say this, and some of you might not want to hear it, but in some places, FEMA has helped people. And in a lot of places, FEMA's absolutely absent. And in some places, FEMA is assisting people in a way that is literally saving lives. And in some places, people haven't gotten the help they need. In some places, FEMA has become a hindrance. In some places, they're not. This is a huge story. And it does not fit into boxes in the way that I've witnessed over the last 3 days. People try to fit it into a political box, and I understand government is not the answer. We have a larger question to ask ourselves, and we have a larger discussion to have about why we have a FEMA at all. And would that money not be better served staying in the local communities that can understand how best to use it in times of natural disaster or crisis? But now's not the time to have that conversation, because that's not the system that we currently have. And so we have to work with the system that we currently have. And it is a system that was set up and designed to be slow and cumbersome and fail and fail and fail again. And we're watching it fail in a lot of ways in real time. That doesn't mean that the men and women on the ground aren't trying to do their best. I have no doubt that the local authorities, that the local sheriff's department, that the local volunteers, that the local churches, they're all trying to do their best. And I have no doubt that there are FEMA employees that are on the ground trying to do their best. These aren't bad human beings. They're part of a bad organization that sadly is designed to not do the job that it needs to do right now because of the nature of its existence. It is too heavy, it is too slow, it is too cumbersome, it is too fraught with regulation, it is too fraught with red tape in order to accomplish the things that we need to be accomplished in the swiftest manner possible. We will attempt to cut through all of the nonsense and get you to the truth of it by getting to the ground. And so we will talk with Steve Antil, I think it is, at 12:35 this afternoon. And we will speak with Jeremy Faison. Representative Faison is in Cocke County. He represents Cocke County in some of the hardest hit areas in Middle Tennessee, or rather, I should say, in East Tennessee. And he will join us at 1:05 this afternoon. Your calls, obviously, as well. We will remember a year ago today, October 7th, 2023. We will talk about weekend activities. I was not here Friday, so I appreciate Cameron Smith filling in for me on Friday. We'll talk about Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, the triumphant return. Elon Musk was there with him. This guy is set, man. Let me tell you, if everything goes well over the next 30 days, we are set up for an American resurgence. And I think Donald Trump learned from his first term to the point where he now knows the entities that he cannot trust in Washington, D.C., and he knows how to tackle those entities. And when you've got Elon Musk as an efficiency manager and RFK set up as a health and human services czar or whatever you want to call it, I mean, I'm excited in a lot of ways about the second Trump presidency. And so we're anticipating that as well. Hold on as I signpost here. We'll talk about the dock worker delay. It was not a solution to the dock worker problem. They kicked the can down the road to try to save the Democrats. We're going to talk about FEMA and disaster relief money. Do all of those things over the course of the afternoon. Campaign 2024 in general. Tim Walz actually did an appearance on what he would consider to be enemy territory on Fox News Sunday. We'll talk about that as well. But before we do any of those things, there's Belle K behind the glass. Hey, Bill.
Cameron told a story on Friday about, I think it had to do with the tornadoes in Alabama, about trying to go in, and it could have been somewhere else, but about trying to go in and help, and FEMA stopping people because they had to inspect, safety equipment and what kind of tools it's like people are literally dying.
It happened to me.
People are literally dying. People are literally, they have no electricity. They don't run, no running water. And FEMA's like, well, we need to look at your gear first. It's like, shut up and get out of the way.
It is the definition. The Federal Emergency Management Agency is the definition of turning the perfect into the enemy of the good. That I'm coming in and I'm trying to do good. Am I perfect? No. Am I going to save everyone? No. Am I going to hit every home? No. Am I going to make everything right? No. In small situations or in small circumstances or small examples, might somebody go in and do something that is yeah. But overall the help is good, and FEMA just turns that good away with regularity. Now, that said, Chimney Rock has not been taken over. I watched a video and I communicated with the guy that was doing this video, and he went in on his own. He was allowed to walk in. He walked in for 1.5 miles into Chimney Rock. He was going, I guess, he was coming from Asheville, I believe, and he went past Bat Cave and got to Chimney Rock. He videoed Chimney Rock, which is where I saw a lot of the video, and saw that much of the old town is still there. Some of it has washed away, but it is not, we're not stacking body bags over there. They're not hiding dead people. And suggesting that is happening, it makes it harder for me to do my job to tell you the bad things that FEMA is actually doing. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. It's
also, the way he explained it was almost like the perfect example of Reagan when he said, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. No, you're from the government and you're here to get in the way of the help.
The only thing that FEMA is good for is money, in my opinion. Everything else can be better handled by volunteerism and people on the ground and local and state authorities.
Yeah, the more local, the better.
And the money that FEMA gets, the reason that FEMA has so much money to hand out is because they're borrowing against the future of this country. They're not even borrowing it against our grandchildren anymore. They're borrowing it against the life cycle of the United States of America. Y'all know that, right? Every amount of money that we add to our federal debt, it might not impact you. It might not impact Bell or Ken Weaver back in the newsroom, but it's going to impact this country at some point. And what we're doing is borrowing against the life of the United States of America. And the reason that FEMA has the ability to walk into a situation and cut a check, $750 meager as it may be, and it's my understanding if you have insurance, they won't even cut you that, is because they borrow against the good faith and credit of the United States of America. We don't actually have that money. So
buying votes is expensive.
Well, buying votes, yeah, that's right. So this is a discussion that needs to be had as to whether or not this is the best way to handle these situations. The political left want you to believe that the government's the only entity that's able to do it, while in real time we watch where the government impedes the ability for neighbors to help neighbors in real time because it's not perfect, or it's not the government that's going to get the credit for it. But there's a lot of, so all of it's true. Here's what I want you to know. Here's how I want to start the show. That if you are reading stuff on the internet, I don't suggest that you disbelieve any of it or believe any of it. And sadly, we are siloing ourselves to the point where there are some people that believe that there is no authority presence. There's no TEMA presence. I mean, and I know, look, I try to further information from sources that I trust. And I posted something on Friday that got a lot of people upset at me. And if you are a follower of my social media platforms, you might know that I had a Tennessee state legislator contact me and give me information and gave me a direct quote, and I posted that quote. And I asked this legislator, and he corroborated it with another. So there were two separate Tennessee legislators that corroborated the information, eyeballs on the ground, looking at what they claim to be looking at. And I posted the quote, and I got destroyed by politicians. And I had to tell several politicians on Friday that I am not interested in helping politicians. I am not interested in protecting the government. I'm interested in helping the people of the state of Tennessee.
I follow you, but I didn't see this. What was the information?
Well, you can see it. I mean, I posted it on Twitter. It was an anecdotal piece of information about FEMA and TEMA and whether or not they were on the ground helping individuals. I mean, it's up. You can see it. Unless Twitter pulled it down.
I'm looking for it now.
Here, I don't want to misquote it because it was not these were not my words. These were the words of a lot of Alabama football stuff. We'll get into that in a moment. I won't be able to help some of that. Here it is. From a Tennessee state legislator. This was 10-4 at 4:45 in the afternoon. So that was Friday afternoon. And this is a direct quote. Good morning. From what I learned last night, FEMA has come in and will not allow any association with religious groups. This is Joe Biden's bureaucratic agency doing this. The Red Cross is there and so is Salvation Army, but they're allowed because they claim to be agnostic. I know of some church groups who've sent truckloads of supplies to have them rejected. Now churches in those areas are asking other congregations to send money instead of tangible objects. If you really want to get going, from my understanding, TEMA has done basically nothing. They're just a pass-through of information for FEMA. And I said, sad to hear, why are they turning these groups away? So I had a lot of pushback. Now, I don't disbelieve. Now, let me explain to you what I'm saying. I don't disbelieve the individuals that gave me this information, and I would not have posted it if I did not trust my sources. I am choosing not to name those two legislators because they would face retaliation from other people on Capitol Hill in Nashville. And I know that because I've been told that by those people because they're not very happy. At the same time, that does not mean that TEMA is not doing good work in other areas. That does not mean that these church groups are not getting and receiving donations and dispersing those donations. I do not believe that this type of activity is widespread. But just because I don't believe that type of activity is widespread doesn't mean that it's not happening in pockets of Tennessee or in pockets of North Carolina. I have experienced it firsthand, and I have no doubt that it's going on now. And, Bell, you made reference to it. In the state of Alabama, I stood in front of my truck and was told that I was not allowed to go further into a situation because I did not have the proper credentials in order to get to that situation. And I had told someone that I was going to come help them cut down trees. And it was a FEMA representative that told me that. And I had to turn around and go away.
Under threat of arrest, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously. I mean, that's what they do, right? So some of it, all of it's true and none of it's true. And it's very, very difficult to get valuable information when you're not talking to people on the ground, which is why we're going to talk to people on the ground later on today, in the form of Steve Ansel, who still, I mean, obviously they still don't have power in most of these portions of the country that we've been talking about that were popped almost 2 weeks ago now. We will continue. The death toll, by the way, last count that I saw was 227.